Так, приветствую, продолжаем играть в вампиров после краша. Так, у меня дублится. Так, одну секунду. Сейчас будет картинка. Так, нас немножко откатило. Надеюсь, они не порезались и все. Так. Верхний респ свободен. Так, тут можно, наверное, пробежать. Так, господа.
Remember you. Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
You selected me, chose me.
As shall my children yet to come.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur. I've had enough of others making decisions for me. Pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
Так. Нового у нас ничего не появилось. Так, нашу палочку-выручалочку мы прокачать не можем. А, это мы уже прокачали. Угу. Нужна часть хорошей рукояти. Да, и урон значительно апнется. Так, идем лечить. Так, там что-то происходит.
It's locked. I cannot enter.
А, вот отсюда можно.
Sometimes you act like a real jerk, you know that?
Come on, Ozzy, don't be like that.
What, like what? Like someone who felt betrayed by the man he loves? Did you ever even try to find me? Rescue me?
You know, it's not like that. I wanted to. I was so afraid to leave the hospital, not to be seen with you.
We survived this shit together. That's all that matters. I know you did your best. the war, right? And fuck them all.
Fuck the war.
Так, у нас несколько диалогов сейчас откроется с ними, я думаю. Начнем с тебя.
Good evening.
Evening, Doc.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you...
Why should you be a...
I'm not. I said...
Mm-hmm.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir.
I'm certain you have your reasons. But let me assure you, I'm not...
It is true. You're...
Goodbye.
Так, еще одного вылечили.
Hello again, Mr. Blight. Good. How do you feel about Oswald Thatcher? You are more than friends, aren't you?
I love him. I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well, you know. I never thought I'd love a man.
I won't say a word, Mr. Blight. Your secret is safe with me.
I fought for my country and I survived. I saw my comrades die. And now society tells me I'm a criminal for who I love. It makes me so angry.
Goodbye.
Так. Здесь мы всех вылечили. Здесь остался только тот, который не пускает. И у нас все готово. Квесты здесь все. Эти два квеста будут после ночевки доступны. Ну, значит, идем по мейн-квесту. Так, нет ли ничего интересного?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice.
Jonathan, my sincere...
Your kindness.
Is there anything you...
I spied my mother at the funeral. Have you ever revealed yourself to a member of your family?
No, Jonathan. And I'd advise you even from thinking about it.
Are we then condemned to lie to those we love?
We are creatures of deception, my friend. But this is more for their sake than ours.
But what if I was close to someone and wished to tell them the truth?
Fear, loathing, disgust. And then they will plead to be turned. They will see it as salvation. Then there's the risk of gaining the attention of vampire hunters.
Are we condemned to attend the funerals of all we love?
Dying is the final act of life, Jonathan. Present company excluded. Accept it.
I don't know what to expect. Am I cursed to an eternity of solitude?
With time, we Ekon tend to go into isolation. If we survive long enough, that is.
As a practitioner of the medical sciences, I'm prepared for the death of loved ones. But mourning in the shadows, deprived of sharing one's grief.
We are no longer a part of the circle of life and death. We are undead, my friend. and so we are outcasts.
Goodbye, my lady.
Так. Что здесь произошло?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional
That's not true. I know.
I don't see what your gender...
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell?
To have the right to study.
What can you tell me about the recent events in Houston?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
Тут какая-то жесть произошла. Нас не было. Так, это, наверное, новое расследование? Нет. Ну, куда ж нас ведешь-то, типец? Так, значит, нам нужно с этого, если не ошибаюсь, выхода подняться наверх. Да.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time?
That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
Тысяча опыта. Так, нужно с Типпетсом поговорить.
Good evening, Dr. Tipp.
Dr. Reed.
Nurse Brannigan has been recently accused of neglect.
This kind of protest isn't...
Do you really think she could be the...
Believe me, Dr. Reed.
I know you're taking drugs, Corcoran. Why take such a risk?
I need it to endure the long shifts. We have no idea how long the epidemic will last. We can't let it win.
For God's sake, what are you thinking? How can you be so irresponsible?
Irresponsible? I am devoted to my work. I am doing this for all the patients who need our help. I cannot abandon them.
Goodbye, Dr.
Так. Кстати, нужно разобраться, что это была за кровь.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
Так, мы прям перед тобой же тащили на него труп.
Good evening. Goodbye.
Fear and disgust on every street corner.
Так, это священника, что ли, убил? Еще раз не уточнил.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What can you...
That Mr. Hampton killed Mr.
And did you see all?
No.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting.
Goodbye.
This dead flesh needs it.
Это уже около трупа тусуется. Так, ну где? Так, ладно. Местный морг нужно было заскочить, посмотреть.
It's locked, all right. Good evening. Do you work here? Yeah? Please show me.
Of course. It never ceases to amaze me how you...
Ну что ж. Тогда идем по моим квестам. Тут у нас нет никаких отметок. Видимо, это триггернется дальше. Там же не дали никакого квеста. Угу. Надо бы 1005 накопить на этот раз. Опытом. Где же ты находишься-то?
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Well, they are not far wrong. The hospital is almost crawling with vampires.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this.
Так. Ладно, отдыхать. Нет смысла, это один буквально 2 навыком прокачаем.
Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go.
Так, да, в доке. Так, я ешь нам. Он хочет дать квест еще. Не будем заставлять ее ждать.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Своеобразный маскарад.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Ну все, в порт нас направляют. Почему бы и нет?
It seems the Prewin are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Fear no evil! We do the Lord's work here!
Блин, все. Получилось у нас в стелс поиграть. Так, 8 минут подали. Ну, конечно, не очень много. Так, ну дураки, видимо, не избежать, да? Неужели здесь ничего нету? А вот. Так, ну все, про порт мы вообще ничего не знаем. Надо идти будет аккуратно, чтобы ничего не пропустить. Так, это вглубь района. Лучше зачистим. Что за бомбочки у них какие-то? Так, не своем еще не надо. Так. Либо наоборот нужно.
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Эдвина Кокс. Угу.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye.
Так. Тут, значит, все, уже город начинается. Правильно я понял? Мгм. Пойдем с ним еще раз пообщаемся.
You again.
I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you?
It's just an idea. Edwina loves to run things so much. You can never really leave the gang. Wet boys for life, you know.
Goodbye, Mr. Dick.
Так, вот, иду на бокс.
Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I ain't paying any bill left by Clay.
I'm not here to collect payment, miss.
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
Really?
Новый квест
Don't you
поймали.
think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
You still use your husband's name, Edwina. Why is that?
Why shouldn't I? He may be a bloody bastard, but I'm still his wife and his name means something round here.
You never paid him a visit at the Pembroke Hospital, did you?
And I don't intend to. In Clay's case, I'm not against a medical mistake or a little help from the Spanish flu.
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
Behind all your crude words and your attitude, I sense romance and a soft heart, Miss Cox.
Romance? I have no time for such rubbish. I use Booth like I use everyone else.
Ну да, это было глупо.
Tell me about the man you and Booth killed, Edwina.
The bastard killed one of us and received retribution. There's nothing else to say.
What happened exactly?
I don't know and I don't care. One of ours was killed by that communist bastard, but he didn't brag for long.
So you have no idea what really happened? But you executed him anyway.
No one messes with the wet boot boys, Doctor. This is our territory, and this is our law.
And your conscience is clear. You kill without hesitation.
Violence is an efficient tool, Dr. Reed, when used properly.
So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that.
Yes, Doctor. Just like that. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's my way of dealing with troublemakers.
Can I see?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Да, опять нету ничего нужного.
Good evening, Miss Cole.
Hello again.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Goodbye.
Так, нужно к Буту вернуться. Вот он. Вот.
You again. What are you...
Tell me about the man you killed, Booth. What happened?
One of us had been killed, so we had to retaliate. That's the whole story.
There has to be more to it than that.
No, really, one of us got killed, so the killer had to die. That's how things have always been done round here. No one gives a shit.
I think you're wrong. Maybe the docks have always been violent, but you can't say the living don't suffer because of it.
And then what? Let the commies and the anarchists rule? Nah. We're the wet boot boys. Our fathers died on these docks and they belong to us.
Goodbye.
Так. Открыли еще несколько жителей. Ртом. А где же бар был сам? Крыса. Так, давайте прервемся на пару минут. Так, продолжаем. Одну секунду. Так. Это, видимо, убежище. Угу. Так, что здесь интересного есть? Да, это самое бедное убежище. Это вырвано из дневника. Угу. Это Сабрина Календаш.
Mark my words, miss. These murders are
Not a
the
drop
work
of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back, and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth, claws, murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
Так, начнем с нее.
Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind, in fact.
I'm much more myself than when we first.
Это же
By the way,
официантка.
I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
So you and your friends all feel in danger? No exceptions?
Tom's the only exception I've come across until now. But he's not like everybody else.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colorful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
So this bar is neutral territory then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
Excuse my curiosity, but where exactly are you from, Miss Cavendish?
Something bothering you? What, my name? Or my complexion?
Believe me, I never judge someone on their place of birth or the color of their skin.
If that's true, you'd be one of the few not to make fun of me. Just you, Tom, Dyson, Miss Fishburne, and of course Mr. Hampton.
I'm sorry if I worried you. I was just curious to find out if you know this part of town well.
Nosy. My dad was a sailor from Bombay, and my mum was a maid born up in Glasgow. They got married in London, and here I am.
Sabrina, tell me about your true feelings for your boss.
I love Tom. Not ashamed of it. Don't care if the customers joke about it neither.
Does Tom love you?
Yeah, but he's always reluctant to take it further. It's not because I'm younger, or because of the colour of my skin. He hates jokes about us.
Who's mocking you?
I mean, we're always together. People will talk, won't they?
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye.
Где этот охотник на... А, вот он. Такой не уходил.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
Я ж думал, не будет такого квеста в этой игре.
Have you heard of the Guard of Prewin?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find him, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watt.
I could make you tell me, but I respect...
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Goodbye.
Так. Так, идем вот это. все, видимо, город. Сейчас мы побольше пройдемся. Вообще посмотреть, где наше задание вообще. Здесь плакаты из могильщик. Угу. Так, а второй квест. В западных доках.
Good evening, sir.
Whatever.
Don't you recognize me? We met a few nights ago.
Don't take it personally. I spent a lot of energy forgetting what I did the night before.
Yes, you had definitely drunk too much then as well. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I'm Dyson Delaney. I'll try to remember you. This time.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am Doc.
Don't you work at all?
I'd love to, but I don't have the time. Didn't I tell you? Drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night.
Занятый человек.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people. Metal and blood everywhere. Shouts, fire, broken window of the shoe shop, the torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it, and now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is, I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there... Why are you so...
Cynicism is the polite way to
No...
Let me...
Another...
Что повторяется?
Surely you must have had dreams and expectations when you were young, like everybody else.
Sure. I wanted things to change. To really change, and to change for good. The bigger the dream, the harder the fall.
Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable.
No, sir. I was an anarchist, and I believed that exclusive property is a robbery in nature. I wanted a new world to rise from the ashes, Dr. Reed.
Do you really think the world is that bad?
No, I believe we all can choose to make it better. But most of us are too weak, too corrupt and too guilty. I failed for sure, but others will come.
I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson.
I'm still an anarchist, Doctor, make no mistake. I just reject violence as a tool to change the world, unlike my comrades.
Do you still see your comrades, then? Even if you don't agree with their methods anymore, I mean.
No. I hope they'll come to share my point of view one day. I'll raise my glass to that splendid idea.
Do you believe in a bloodless revolution, then?
I do not believe in much anymore, Doctor. But I'll admit I like your idea of peaceful change. I like it a lot.
I'm looking for Mr. Shaw.
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint.
Все направляет к тому.
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes, I feel...
Take this, then.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to...
Goodbye.
Так. Кажется, у нас нет одного. Один больной человек остался. Его к себе не пускают. Посмотримся здесь. Второй этаж посмотрим.
Are they stupid or something? I've never even been to India.
Здесь это был только что.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint of the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton, our own private holy figure. Few are foolish enough to make peace with the gangs. Sean is one of them.
How is it you can keep this place open? This part of town doesn't seem particularly safe.
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well. Show me where it is. I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Or something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
Why does your waitress feel in danger working on the docks?
This part of town is dangerous for all, but for women it's worse, as always. Sabrina is a brave girl, but she can't help feeling in danger.
Do you think she has good reason to feel this way? Are you not worried about her safety?
Of course I am. The truth is, she's tougher than me deep inside. She just has to learn to control it.
Sabrina seems very fond of you, Tom.
I like her too, I really do. I know I'm her boss, and I'm much older and all. But I like her for sure.
What is bothering you then?
Sabrina is an angry one. She wears it like a coat. I'm not sure I can make her shed that anger. It hurts to see her like that.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr.
I should have offered a drink to the boy.
Так, ну туда, конечно же, сразу не пойдем. Нужно собрать еще квестов. Так.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
Do you require...
Так, сразу вылечим.
I don't know which kind of...
And is it your purpose?
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
No. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. That's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Any chance...
The sad saint.
Actually...
Really? Well, go ask...
Так, ну, эта фраза, видимо, так и будет фигурировать. Опять дверь закрыта. А, нет, ну как она будет закрыта, если у нас такой квест. А это что? Так, это все еще пиз-зона у нас идет. Так, это тоже на мост. Так, ну пойдемте сходим.
This is a slaughterhouse. It's locked, all right.
А, вот ожерелье мы нашли.
To my beloved mother Stella. Fishburne, that sneaky bastard. Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
I have retrieved the gift for your mother, sir.
Great. Give it here then and take this for your trouble.
I also found the corpses. The ones under which you left the necklace, Mr. Fishburne.
Ah, so that's where I left it. I can be a bit stupid sometimes.
Have you no remorse? You don't even deny your crimes.
I have many weaknesses, Dr. Reed, but lying about who I am ain't one of them.
You're not a mindless animal. Surely you have something to say about these murders. Speak up and I will listen without judgment.
Could be right, Dr. Reed. Maybe it'll do some good to confide in a gentleman like you. You being educated and all.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
That right? Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum, I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I don't believe death is the appropriate sentence for murder. Not in a civilized society. But the last word has to remain with the law.
There is no law around here. No justice to be found. In these parts, revenge is the only answer.
Подсказку утили. Ну да ладно.
Goodbye.
Так, где-то миссис Фишберн это была. Так. Уделся. Так, туда.
I will return at a more convenient time.
Stupid brat is gone. Good. I was tired of the maggot always hanging around our house anyway.
My God, Seymour. Have you hurt the boy?
Of course not. Why do you care so much about that cockroach? Do I need to talk to rats to get some attention too?
Don't be so childish. You know I love you, Seymour.
But you worry more about that stupid maggot.
Don't speak about him that way. Rufus has always been the kindest boy.
Yeah? Unlike your real son, right?
I'll come back when only one person's in. Good evening.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Mr. Fish. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Just grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts. Please don't stay too long, sir.
It's locked. It's locked, all right.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child. And he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope, then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Your son's gone way beyond simply...
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
The situation will only get worse. Someone has to stop Seymour.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean.
You talking about the one...
The very same.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
Давай история.
Please don't stay too long, sir.
Так, сделаем маленький перерыв на пару минут. Так, продолжаем. Так, сколько у нас здесь НПЦ осталось? Третьего мы еще не нашли. Не так много на самом деле.
Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
Конечно, он будет. Сразу вылечим.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about...
A real doctor treats
I
everyone.
don't know what to say.
Угу.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Угу. Если две фракции будет.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
You should be careful, Rufus. There are things that lurk in the shadows of this city. Things that prey on the lonely and the desperate.
I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Угу.
Rufus, tell me what you really think about Seymour Fishburne.
Seymour, he just scares me. A lot. Actually, he scares many people round here, even big fellows.
You mean his brutality is infamous, even in this shady part of town? That's impressive.
Yes, sir. How someone like that can be related to Mrs. Fishburne, well, it beggars belief.
The patience of a mother for her child knows no limits. None of us would be here otherwise.
You're right. And I certainly didn't mean any disrespect to the woman who takes such good care of me.
So long.
Так, теперь можно снова миссис Фишберн поговорить. Сейчас еще глянем что-то в другом короле. Угу. Значит, у нас вот эта локация сейчас будет западные стойки порты Сатуарк. И потом вот это заключительная часть. Да, но еще точно рано. Так, и здесь тоже ничего нету. Видимо, они на другой части уже.
Good evening, Mrs. Fishburne. May I...
Of course. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. What can I do?
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Goodbye, Miss.
I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry.
Так. Печально святой как раз в западных доках. Ну, только до у нас еще пошли. У нас есть могильщики. Как раз на юге. Один квест сюда уже есть. Плакаты из кучи. Да. По мейн-квесту как пойдем. И ник. Тоже в западных доках. Так, и найти место, где взорвалась бомба. В принципе, можем на юг идти. Там небольшой закуток, то есть мы все это исследуем. И пойдем в западные доки после этого. Там как раз найдем еще какого-нибудь НПЦ. Так, ну да, завтра тогда мы продолжим в западных доках. Руфус. Сейчас с Эймором только поговорим.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Seymour, why are you scaring young Rufus?
I don't like his act to gain me mother's trust. I don't like it at all. Little bugger is like a fly around shit.
Young Rufus seems quite harmless to me. Your support could change his life for the better.
I don't believe in kindness nor innocence, sir. The boy is either a fool or a hypocrite who hides his hand well.
Goodbye,
Интересное мнение. Так, ладно, на сегодня мы все заканчиваем. Подписывайтесь обязательно и завтра продолжим.